Hey, what's up? Biz out here. A little under the weather. Late out of work today. I was checking my YouTube subscriptions and saw that my buddy Cole from Cole Talks Comics had put up a video about the power of stories. Very cool video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He's talking about how the written word, fiction, literature has moved him and shaped his life and so on. And I really enjoyed it, and it was very heartfelt, and I thought I'd do a response video and kind of show off some of my books. He asked to see our bookshelves, which I really don't have a bookshelf per se. Well, I kind of do up there, just sort of tossed about. I'll show those off later. But I have to make this admission. In high school and college, I wasn't a reader. I hated reading. I lacked the attention span and the will to actually sit down, turn off the TV, turn off the stereo, forget about the internet, and just devote myself to a book and immerse myself in it. I couldn't do it. I tried periodically. I could not do it. It really wasn't until college that I remember I read a short story from, I completed a short story called The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, and which is a great short story, by the way. And I felt like I'd made a huge accomplishment in my life by finishing that short story. A buddy of mine let me borrow The Catcher in the Rye, which is a book he swears by. It took me about 6 months to read it because I would read a chapter, put it down for 3 weeks, pick it back up, read another chapter, wait a month and a half, pick it back up, read another chapter. Not that I don't like that book. I mean, I'm not really part of the cult of Holden Caulfield. I appreciate, I think, the impact of that book and what that book means to people in general, more so than I sort of enjoyed it. I think I found it a little, I don't know, whiny maybe, histrionic. I don't know. I like it. I don't love it. J.D. Salinger recently passed away. Rest in peace. I've enjoyed all of his stories, the ones I've read, Franny and Zoe, 9 stories. All of the 9 stories I enjoyed. I haven't read the Raise High, the Roof Beams or something like that. Anyway. It wasn't until shortly after college. By the end of my college stint, I was completely burned out. A lot of my buddies had done some of my buddies had done the storied, taking the year off between high school and college to find yourself. And for a couple of those buddies of mine, the search continues. Whereas I went from, I graduated high school in May, I was in college at the end of August. And so by the end of that, I was completely burned out, and then I took my year off. And that actually stretched a little bit longer than a year. Once I started looking for a job and finding that a lot more difficult than I had anticipated. And I saw the film American Psycho. Loved it. Realized that it had been based on a novel by Bret Easton Ellis. Read the novel from beginning to end. Just absolutely ate it up. Loved it. Got all of Bret Easton Ellis' novels. Read those. Then I sort of dove into the classics, reading stuff like Fahrenheit 451, Slaughterhouse 5, Farewell to Arms, The Sun Also Rises, The Great Gatsby, stuff like that. Jumped into reading a lot of Don DeLillo. I've read all of Don DeLillo's novels except for 1 or 2. Love all those. Read a bunch of Stephen King. Just a lot of great books. That couple of years of my life were, it was very slow. It was very, wasn't making any money. I was living at home. Really didn't have a life, but books were there for me. I mean, there was a time where I would be reading 3 books at one time. I remember reading James Elroy's My Dark Places, which is fantastic, and 2 other books, and now I can't remember what they were, literally at the same time. I'd put one down, pick up another, put it down and pick up another. I mean, I was absolutely devouring books, and I just read a ton, and you know, I discovered the power of the written word, of, you know, a story unfolding inside your mind, how powerful, you know, just black words on white paper can be when, you know, you have a you know, a fruitful and fertile imagination, and can you know, create that story in your head. So don't get to read as much as I used to, or as much as I'd like to now, because you know, I work a lot, and then I'm very lazy when I'm not working. Like today, when being sick, I caught up on some movies that I've been meaning to watch. Splinter, Carriers, played some more Left 4 Dead. That game dominates my life now, but I really need to get back to reading. I've got some books here that I've been trying to read. The Road by Cormac McCarthy, a couple of others. I pick them up, I put them down, and then I sort of forget about them. Anyway, that's sort of my history with the written word. And now I'm going to show you my bookshelf. Alright, so here is kind of my bookshelf here at Casa de Pizal, here in the what I affectionately call the media room. This is where I keep my computer and my DVDs and stuff, and this is where I've dumped a bunch of my books. I'll just grab a few here that mean a lot to me. Let's see, here's a couple down here. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Love that book. This is a book that, Cole, you should read. The Alienist by Caleb Carr. Very cool sort of murder mystery book. I think you'd dig. Another one, The Minus Man, based of course on the book, on the movie, which was very cool. American Psycho, I talked about it. Love this book. Let's see, what else do we have here? Slaughterhouse-Five. The Old Man in the Sea. Mao 2 by Don DeLillo, great book. On the Road by Kerouac. Fahrenheit 451. The Sun Also Rises. Let's see, here's 9 Stories by Salinger. There's The Power and the Glory, Interview with the Vampire, Rules of Attraction. There's Catch-22, The Exorcist, Virgin Suicides, 12, The Fall by Albert Camus. I've got The Stranger in here somewhere by Camus, which is, of course, a classic. There's The Catcher in the Rye. There's White Noise. The Informers. There went a book flying. Something by Elmore Leonard, another DeLillo novel. Paul Auster's Oracle Nights. So here's a very old edition of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest that I found at a mission for about a quarter. Very old. Very old. The Dharma Bombs, 1984. Here's a really cool book. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Highly recommend it. The largest book I've ever read, Underworld by Don DeLillo. Just a magnificent novel. It's falling apart. I've read it so much. And if there's anything else in here of note, The Alchemist, The Black Dahlia by James Elroy. There went Sylvia Plath, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So those are some of my books. I've got some other ones scattered around here. This is where I've chucked a bunch of them just to sort of keep. So that's kind of my bookshelf.